There were so many mistakes that my wife and I made when we started creating content on social media over 10 years ago. When you're putting yourself out there, a lot of times you're so focused on making great content that you don't consider how critical it is to keep yourself safe, especially if you have a family or young kids. Look, the internet is a great place to connect with people all around the world and make a career doing something you love, but it can also have its downsides. There are trolls, scammers, and just all around dishonest people who will try to figure out ways to take advantage of you and even your loved ones. I'm not trying to be scary, trust me. I just want everyone out there to be safe. So here are 10 must-do safety and privacy tips for influencers. First up, be cognizant of your surroundings when you're filming. Don't show the outside front of your home, especially your street number, right? And that includes not tagging locations too close to your home. If you're filming in your car, follow a similar practice of not showing too much, especially if you might keep something in there expensive, like camera equipment, right? And keep street signs out of view. A good rule of thumb is just to shoot at a high angle, pointing down, right? When it comes to filming inside your house, be mindful of any packages or mail that show your address, and try to avoid windows that reveal too much about your surrounding location as well. And speaking of locations, the second tip I have for you is if you have kids, don't take pictures or don't film at your kids' school, right? This should be a hard rule, not only for the safety of your kids, but also for the safety of other kids who attend that school. Be conscious of showing other children or their friends in any setting. The rule of thumb is ask permission from their parents first. In fact, in general, just be respectful of your friends and your family and ask them if they want to be filmed or tagged on social media before you do it. Tip number 3, get a UPS store box, not a PO box, for a couple of reasons. Number 1, you won't have to give out your personal address, right? Number 2, some brands can't ship things to you in a PO box, like perishable items. And number 3, if and when you decide to formalize your creator business as an LLC or an S Corp, you can use your UPS store address so that your home address doesn't show up on the Secretary of State's website, where things like addresses are easy to access by the public. Now, we're gonna get a little Mission Impossible here on this next one, but for good reason. Number 4 is get a security system. An alarm is great, but more importantly is a camera system, right? You can purchase affordable and very effective door and security cameras that are easy to place around areas of your home. Some of these even allow you to monitor through your phone, right? So you could be at a Starbucks a few miles away and actually see if there's any sneaky activity going on around your home. Of course, we can't talk about home safety without talking about your little ones. So tip number 5 is talk to your kids about strangers, right? Believe it or not, sometimes I think we just assume that our kids know better, right? You need to make it a habit to keep your kids prepared to know exactly what to do if approached by a stranger. For starters, communicate to them that if someone they've never met before ever approaches them, don't listen to anything they say unless you're there with them. Even if the stranger knows their name from you posting about it on social media, right? It's not okay to interact or go anywhere with this stranger without your permission. And since we're on the topic of kids, tell your kids' school or daycare about what you do. I know some people are kind of embarrassed that they create content online, but what's worse, a little embarrassment or something happening to your kid? I mean, be as informative as you can so that they can understand that it's important to never release any information to anyone without your direct approval. And most importantly, never allow your child to leave with anyone you specifically haven't approved of first. Tip number 7, add 2-step authentication on all your social media. Yes, all your social media. I know, you have the best and most amazing password ever, but still, right? I highly recommend to not use text message based authentication, but instead use an authenticator app like Google Authenticator. These apps make it much harder for people to hack into your social media. Remember, if you make a significant portion of your livelihood from social media, you need to take how well you're securing access to those accounts really seriously. You never want to get into a situation where you get hacked and your entire career that you've spent years building is just gone like that. Poof. Tip number 8 is to also add verbal passwords on important accounts like your bank, right? This is going to be monumental in preventing identity theft. Many influencers have a lot of information about them floating around out there, right? Their name, where they live, names of all their family members, their birthdays, where they were born, right? And so on, right? So you can start to see how easily it might be for someone with bad intentions to piece together all this information and try to mess with your life. Having a verbal password could be the last line of defense to preventing your identity from being stolen, and almost impossible for thieves to get a hold of it, as long as you don't use something obvious as your verbal password. So we've been hammering home about safety and privacy in your home, right? But what about when you're not home? Let's talk about travel. So tip number 9, if possible, don't post on social media when you're traveling, unless you have to for a sponsored opportunity. In fact, it's best to not post anything until you get home. This does 2 things. First, it prevents burglars from targeting your home while you're gone. If you don't post anything until you get back, they basically missed any real opportunity to take advantage. Second, this is going to make it hard for people to find you, particularly stalkers, right? Even if you don't have any stalkers per se, you still want to be able to go out and enjoy your travels without followers tracking you down. And tip number 10, if you do meetups where you meet your fans or your followers, consider not bringing your kids. If you do bring your kids, consider hiring security, right? The chances of something bad happening are probably pretty low, but having security present is just going to reduce the risk and your stress by a considerable amount. So you might be thinking, okay, I get it. You need to be careful, but this stuff doesn't really apply to me, right? I don't have that big of a following, so I don't have stalkers or people trying to find out a bunch of information about me. Okay, fine. But what about in 3 years when you blow up, right? Basically, no one deletes anything that they post on the internet. So you have to assume that anything you post between now and when you blow up, right, will be there forever. So I always recommend to creators to just start being as careful as possible now so that you're able to protect yourself and your family so that you never have to deal with any of this kind of stuff. So let me know in the comments, any safety or privacy tips that you've picked up along the way. Hit subscribe and click the notification bell so you'll know when my next video comes out. And watch this video right here. Come on, you know you want to. Come on.